you've seen it yet, but if not, you need to go and check out Clayton's video of the Lexus LM. It's a luxury vehicle from Lexus, but it's a minivan. A luxury minivan is everything I could ever ask for and a little bit more. However, we're not going to get the opportunity to test drive it because it's not sold in Canada and likely never will be, because in North America, minivan sales are declining. So there's not really a market here for it. However, I do think you should check it out. And that said, when Stephanie said that the Toyota Sienna in this platinum trim is a properly premium minivan, I knew that I had to give it a look and see if it's all that it's cracked up to be. Now, I knew it wouldn't take a lot for me to love the Sienna, whether it's in its platinum trim or not, because I love a minivan and I truly, truly love the Sienna. It's one of my favorite vehicles in the Canadian car market. As tested here in this all-new platinum trim, it's almost $75,000, and that's before taxes. That's a lot of money, and I don't know if there's anyone really wanting to spend $75,000 on a minivan. Sure, it's luxurious, it's got some great things in it, but let's be real. At the end of the day, that's more than the average new car price in Canada. And let's be honest, I don't even want to spend the average new car price, which is well over $60,000 now. Do I want $70K on a minivan? No. Now, you may be asking yourself, what exactly do you get for the big bucks in this minivan? Well, for almost $5,000 more than the limited trim, which was the previous top trim, you get a head-up display, which is meh. You get a few extra safety features, you get a fridge box, and also a vacuum. The vacuum fits nicely into this center, and it's cool, but if I'm being truly honest, I could find a much cheaper handheld vacuum on Amazon. Or probably Walmart or wherever you get it, because, Canadian made ones is what we're going for these days. Now, all those additional safety features, including the head-up display, I don't think those are worth the $5,000. And at the end of the day, this cooler back here, as kind of cool as it is, it's sort of pointless. I don't know how much you can actually fit inside of it, but I would much rather just grab a cooler. If I'm going out for a day with the kids, I need way more space than that little cooler back there. It's not doing much for me. Whether that plus the vacuum plus those safety features and head-up displays worth $5,000, I really don't think so, but that's just me. When I say that it's an extra $5,000 for those things and that I don't think it's worth it, I don't mean that they don't work. All of those things work pretty well. However, it's a minivan. What's the main job of a minivan? It's to haul dirty kids around, right? All you really need is space. You don't need a whole bunch of luxurious stuff in it. And I mean, as I'm saying this now, I'm realizing why a luxury minivan isn't a part of the North American market, or why we don't want it, because we're not trying to get expensive minivans really dirty, especially in this winter weather and all the slush and mud as it's slowly, very slowly melting. Before we talk about the space inside the minivan, let's talk about how simple minivan life is. And as a parent of 3 kids and a little puppy, I will take all the wins, all the easy steps, all the life hacks I can get. And in here, the sliding doors are perfect. I wish every car had sliding doors. I know that's not feasible, that makes not a whole lot of sense, but I still wish it was true. The sliding doors are also opened multiple ways. So there's a button right on the door, but you can also just pull the handle. You can kick to open it if the keys are with you, though I've always had a little bit of issues with those kicking sensors. Then when you get in the car, there's a button right by the, sort of lower down by the passenger's foot. Or I can also just reach at the top here on the roof and open the door for the kids so they can hop out when they are at school. Once you're inside here, there is an absolute ton of legroom for the second row and third row. The great thing about these second row seats is they slide pretty far back and forth, so you'll get lots of legroom for if you've got someone tall in the front seat, if you've got someone in a car seat in the middle, if you've got an NBA player in the second row seat, everyone's gonna have space to some extent in some way, shape, or form. The other cool thing about these seats, of course, is that they're recliners. Now, Generally speaking, if you've got a minivan, at some point you probably have kids in here, and if you've got a car seat strapped into there, then you're not going to get as much use out of those recliners because you can't recline it with a car seat in it. However, if you're going on a long drive with older kids, I am 100% sure they'll take advantage of it, and if you get the chance to, I would say get back there as well. Stretch it out, stretch yourself out, take a little break, because parents need a break. Second, the cool thing about them being able to go back and forth is that whereas I usually complain about not being able to get into the third row if you've got car seats latched into there, you can do that in here. It's super simple because you can push that second row seat all the way up and climb in through that middle. It's so cool. The one nitpicky thing that I would say about this minivan that I don't really like is where that cooler box is placed. If you're gonna have it in there, I know there's not really much other space that you can put it, but it blocks up that center aisle. And so if I've got a kid sitting on this side behind me, then with their huge winter boots on and all of that stuff, it's a little complicated to get through there to get out on that side, which is where they get out when they go to school or when I pick them up. If that cooler wasn't there, then they could just walk on through. So much simpler. And again, simple is what we're looking for in a minivan, especially with kids who make everything more complicated than it needs to be. Let's talk about the cargo space. It's a minivan. There's tons of cargo space. I can't complain about the things that I complain about when I'm talking about three-row SUVs because there's a ton of cargo space. It's like the utmost cargo space. Like, you cannot go wrong with the minivan's cargo space. That said, for $75,000, I would really appreciate a button back there to get those seats down. It's not super difficult. I've seen harder ones, but again, $75K, I want a button there so that I can easily flip those seats down and get them back up and not have to use my muscle strength to get them in and out. Also note that the second row seats do not come out. In the Chrysler Pacifica they do, so if you're looking for some extra space to get some bigger items into a van, then the Pacifica is probably the way to go. However, if you're not going to be doing that too often, then the Sienna is a little better in that sense. Up in the front here, the seats are really comfy. The chairs, you can tell, they've got this new beige leather on the back here. Sorry, not beige, macadamia. It's cool and all. The one thing that I appreciate is that the macadamia leather seats are not on the bottom. The bottom is black, so if you've got blue jeans on, you're good to go. They're not going to stain these. However, if you've got a jean jacket on, then you're pretty much on your own. You're gonna mess it up. Up here on the screen, the infotainment system is pretty simple. The backup camera is a lot better than it used to be. This vehicle is actually pretty simple to park. It fits into my tiny townhouse garage, which is a good thing in itself. The Sienna drives a little bit heavy. Obviously, we've seen heavier. But even though it's heavy, it doesn't feel extremely large. I don't feel like it's taking up too much space, at least not as much as I feel like it's taking up when I drive bigger cars. All of the Sienna vehicles are hybrid. The whole lineup is hybrid. You're going to get a hybrid powertrain that includes a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder, and it's okay. But you're not sporting in here. You're not trying to. It's a minivan. You're hauling things. You'll be fine in here. My only issue with it, and it's not really a deal breaker, is that it can get loud at times. If you're trying to pick up speed on a local road, or especially on the highway, it'll get loud. Let me see if you can hear it now. Yeah, but once you get back into normal speed, you're pretty much good to go from there. So the Sienna competes with actually quite a few things. In the minivan market, there are only 3 other things that it competes with: the Honda Odyssey, Kia Carnival, and the Chrysler Pacifica. The Chrysler Pacifica has the Pinnacle, which is its top trim, and to be completely honest, I think it might be a little bit more luxurious than this, but like, this is hybrid, and you can get the Pinnacle as a plug-in hybrid, but I actually prefer the Sienna in that sense. The Kia Carnival now comes with a hybrid, and for quite a bit cheaper, it's a fighter. It is like, it's in it to win it with that hybrid. The Honda Odyssey needs to get a hybrid in there somehow because it's losing customers. It's a probably good thing to note that these minivans are obviously also in competition with SUVs. Everybody wants an SUV now. Minivans aren't cool anymore. They want a 3-row SUV. So you're also in competition with things like the Honda Pilot, the Hyundai Palisade, the Kia Telluride, or Toyota's very own Grand Highlander, which is also super amazing. You're not going to get as much cargo space in the back behind the third row, but it's equally as great of a vehicle in general. And you can get its hybrid max trim for, I believe, around $65,000, which is sort of similar to the limited trim. But again, if you're going to spend $65,000 or more than that, I would say the practicality of a minivan is a better option. The Sienna is rated to get, I think, a combined average of 6.8 liters per 100 kilometers. That is pretty good for a bigger vehicle. However, we were seeing numbers in the low 7s, so it's not too far off, but if you're doing mostly local driving, then you will see numbers a teeny bit higher than 6.8, especially in the wintertime with all these rough roads and using all the stuff inside like heaters and all that stuff. Is a Toyota Sienna worth it? Yes and no. I love a minivan. I'm always going to say a minivan, and the practicality of it is worth quite some amount of money. $75,000? Definitely not. But you don't need this platinum grade. Bump down a couple notches to like the XSE, and you can add a technology package onto it, and you're cruising. You've got your wireless phone charger in here. It'll wirelessly connect to Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, and you can do everything from the touchscreen, and you're good to go. I do not think minivans should be so hated on in this economy. I do think that they should be a little bit better priced. And Kia may be onto something with the Carnival. That said, the Toyota Sienna is still one of my favorite cars, and I will drive it every year that I can because I love it. I can't wait to see what they do with it next. For Driving.ca, I'm Renita Narain. For more minivan news and reviews, check us out on our website or follow us on social media.